What's good, guys? Mount Vernon Kid here, back again. Your alpha is here. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Opinion Spot. And today on the Opinion Spot, I'm gonna do another list for you guys. So over the course of the month of February, you guys have been asking me, some of the pack members have been asking me, hey Chris, are you gonna do anything for Black History Month? And I kindly replied and said, not necessarily, because I don't consider just a month of celebrating Black excellence and things like that. That's all year round. We're just as much a part of this country's history than any other culture as well and community. But after a while, I sat down and thought about it for a while, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think I will go back to doing something. So let me pop out a list, a pretty good list. And so here I am, guys, to give you a new list of something that you may like. Now, I've done a list before about in terms of Black superheroes. I gave you guys my top 20 favorite Black superheroes of all time. You guys seemed to really enjoy it. Y'all thought I was cool. But when it comes to heroes, and especially heroes of color in the comic book industry, some get high, some get here, some become main event. I'll use wrestling terms here. Some become main eventers, some stay mid-carders, and some just get left in the dust, especially depending on the company. But when it comes to Black heroes, we always think about our norms, the usual, the big times, your Black Panthers, your Luke Cage, your Storms, your Bishop, your John Stewarts, your Black Lightnings, your Vixens, you name it, characters like that. Those are always going to be those main architects in terms of the Black heroes. But there are so many others, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm giving you some more characters, Black characters that I think you may like, and I have a list right here to give you guys some more, to give you some, to maybe you think about, like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna go. Chris says that maybe check out this character. Maybe I should go back and check this character out. Read. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the character, give you their first appearance, give you an insight into what they can do, and of course their creators. So first and foremost, let's start ladies first. We're gonna go 1 to 0. I was gonna go backwards, but this time I'm just gonna go from number 1 up to 10, if that's okay. So starting off with number 1, we're gonna start off with the Crimson Avenger. The Crimson Avenger, one thing I love about the DC universe is their love and appreciation for legacy. There's been a lot of legacy characters in the DC universe, and the Crimson Avenger is one of them. Now, I'm talking about the third Crimson Avenger. I'm not talking about the first one. The first one was a white man who looked pretty much like the Spirit, with a crimson trench coat, fedora, mask, carried 2 pistols, the typical architect of the pulp era heroes. And those are cool too, because you know me, I love my pulp era heroes. But the Crimson Avenger, the third one was an African American female. Her name was Jill Carley, and she was a lawyer in Gotham, and later on she would appear later on in Stars and Stripes number 9, excuse me. Got my notes right here. So she was a lawyer. She was defending somebody who was guilty, and later on she was mailed the 2 pistols of the original Crimson Avenger, and these pistols were cursed. Whoever touches them, whoever possesses them, will go after. If you use them acts of revenge, you become cursed, and because you're cursed, you now have to find and kill a person who kills an innocent person. Basically, she was the equivalent of Ghost Rider's Spirit of Vengeance, and she, as you can see, right, if you can see to my left or right, however I'm facing, that's what she looked like. She wasn't blind, she just wore that. She had intangibility, she can go through anything she wanted. She had excellent marksmanship, and the guns were mystical. And she would go around acting revenge. Now, at times she was portrayed as being a villain, sometimes a hero. Same thing somewhat like Ghost Rider. Superman is coming across her, and she has shot Superman several times, nearly killing him. The guns are magic. Magic hurts Superman and can kill him. But she's a very interesting character, especially done right. She was created by Jeff Johns and Scott Collins. Created her, but after a while we stopped seeing her. Last time I saw her, she was in JSA Classifieds, and that was about it. Haven't seen her ever again. And you would think with a character like that, there would be some good storytelling. And if I was DC and Warner Brothers, I'd be thinking about maybe giving her some kind of spotlight on, I don't know, HBO Max or something like that. The next character on the list, of course, is Amazing Man. The Amazing Man is another one of those characters of legacy. This character, the first three Amazing Men were family. They were related. The grandfather, his name was Will Everett. His grandson, Will Everett III, and his other grandson, Marcus Clay. Well, I'm just going to talk about the first Amazing Man, Will Everett. He first appeared in All-Star Squadron. He was created by Roy Thomas. Came out in the 80s. Roy Thomas, the former editor-in-chief of Marvel, the creator of Iron Fist and Shang-Chi, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Yeah, one of them. Amazing Man Will Everett was one of those heroes of the people. He was a hero that served his country and later on became a hero. His powers were similar to Absorbing Man, like he can absorb energy, the energy and property of any substance he touches, and that kind of carried on through the legacy of his grandsons. One of the Will Everett III, he also had magnetic powers as well, but Marcus Clay definitely really had his grandfather's powers. And Marcus Clay would be seen in Jeff Johns' run of JSA, which was a good run. Later on, we would see Amazing Man's star, and currently we would have him. You would see Tom Taylor would use him. Tom Taylor, the great Tom Taylor, used him in his Injustice prequel. So we got to see him. He in that world, Amazing Man is a part of the JSA, and I thought it was really cool that they used him. And I even tweeted Tom Taylor that too. I was like, hey, thank you for putting Amazing Man in that book, because he's so underrated, but he's actually a really good character. And I love characters of legacy, like you see, like especially if it's family related. It's father to son or father to daughter, that or even in this case grandsons that carry the legacy of their grandfather. I thought that was really cool. So Tom Taylor was the last person to use him currently, and it was really cool. I really thank Tom Taylor for that. So thank you, Mr. Taylor, for using Amazing Man. Indeed, it really was really special to use him. I thought so. Next on the list, of course, is we're going Joshua Power. Joshua Power is a very enigmatic and huge giant man. He first appeared in JLA 61. He was created by Kevin Brusick and Tom Guillermin. I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm probably butchered the name. I apologize. And of course, he was a part of the team Power Company. But he's a very interesting character because as big as he is, he can morph himself into this rock golem that has invulnerability, superhuman strength, things like that. Even Superman himself has said he's probably the toughest guy I've ever came across, because they kind of fought once or twice. But we haven't seen him in a while. We haven't seen him since. And it kind of sucks when you have characters like that, that to me, if you can stand toe to toe with powerhouses like Superman and people like that, I'm like, you should be using this character more. What's the problem? You know, I don't see the problem with that. So yeah, he definitely has an interesting. The power set is very interesting, like I said, because he's already a giant man as it is, but then he gets taller when he turns into this golem-like rock creature. It's really interesting. So basically, in a sense, I would say Joshua Powers is like the equivalent of if Ben Grimm could turn off his powers on and off. He could just turn it off instead of just one day out of the year he's able to just be Ben Grimm. No, if Ben could like turn him off and he's back to, and then when he needs to become the Thing, he just go back into the Rock Man. So that's kind of the equivalent of how I look at him. Next on the list is Skyrocket. This is another character that pretty much got left in the dust, and I guess in a sense because when we look at heroes who are more armored powered, we're instantly thinking, oh, especially in DC, we're thinking, oh, you're a Steel wannabe, you're this, you're that. But Lieutenant Cecilia, I want to make sure I get her name right, Cecilia Forrestal, was a very interesting character. This was another character that was a part of what first appeared in JLA 61. So if you ever want to go read about her, go JLA 61. She was also then she became a part of the team Power Company. She was a naval officer. So similar to like War Machine and things like that, except War Machine is Marines or Air Force. They always change what branch she's from, but she had her armor powered suit was known as the Argos harness, and it had different abilities and capabilities. It was really cool. You've probably seen an image of her right to my right, your left, wherever. Like I said, and it was really cool to see her. The harness was really powerful at times. It wasn't overly powerful, but she got the job done when she needed to. And it kind of sucks that we don't see Skyrocket anymore. But once again, like I said, what do I know? I'm just a fan. But it would be really cool to see her again. Like somebody just comes along and say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna bring that character back. That's how I always look at when these writers come along and get these team books. I always feel like you writers, you guys, if they say you got full range of characters you want to use, you know how hyped up I would be? I'm like, okay, I know what to use. Next on the list, we're gonna go to Hannah Washington, aka the Ant. This character is very interesting because it's kind of being told between the eyes of a troubled 8-year-old girl who she's writing this in her diary, and she believes herself to be in her, and it's like a story of her older self, and she becomes this superhero called the Ant. The exoskeleton that you see here, it kind of interesting because it comes from it's manifested from her blood sugar, which is really interesting at times, but it gets super hard, but it can get depleted when her blood sugar gets low. It'll start cracking, but all she needs to do is replenish it. But like any bug-themed character, she has super strength and things like that. Like able to stick to walls. The character was first introduced through Arcadia Studios, and then later on Image Comics started publishing the book. It's a really good, interesting book, and it also has a good message through it as well. Because, like I said, Hannah is very, she's troubled. Like she's writing in a diary about it. Like, this is the hero that I find myself to be. And later on, they started doing some things about it, but she was still really cool. So I do recommend people to check out The Ant very much. Next on the list is Aegeus, Trey Rollins from Marvel Comics. Trey Rollins, Aegeus, first appeared in, I believe, Volume 2 of... He is a New Warrior. He was from the New Warriors. And he found this breastplate. And basically, it looked like something from ancient Greece. And reason being, because it was from ancient Greece. Athena herself gave it to him. And basically what it is, he was able to use it to protect his neighborhood. He's from Brooklyn, so he's a native New Yorker. Let's think about it. When we think about Marvel Universe, a lot of the characters are from New York. They're New Yorkers. That's what makes the Marvel Universe so different. They use that city is just as much. That state is just as much a character as the characters in it. And what he can do is he can project force fields around anybody, even himself, with this breastplate. And unfortunately, he ended up dying from a character called the Huntsman that was sent to him by the creator of the breastplate. It wasn't Athena, but it was Hera. And basically, the Huntsman threw Aegeus out of a 12-story building, and he tried to activate the force field so to break his wall. It didn't work, and he died. And you would later on see him in the incredible Herc run with that Greg Pak was writing, and you would see him there as being a part of like the Dead Warriors and things like that. It was really sad, but yeah. But when he was alive, it was really interesting to see him. You know, here he is. Here's this African American boy with a very ancient piece of armor that was created by the gods, the Olympians. It's really cool, and I thought that was really cool indeed. But yeah, Trey ended up dying, which sucks. You know, it's just the way it is sometimes. I don't really like seeing characters get killed off, especially if they didn't get a good start of their career. And Trey was one of them. He's not the first, but yeah, he's one of them. Next on the list, of course, is Battlestar. We're talking about Lamar Hopkins. Lamar Hopkins first appeared in Captain America 323. He was John Walker's Bucky. When Captain America, Steve Rogers, gave up the costume, basically didn't agree with what was going on, and the United States government said, well, you can quit, but that costume, that shield, that's government property. And he later on became a captain and everything like that. When John Walker was Captain America, Lamar was Bucky. However, one thing I really loved is how the creators, Mark Gruenwald and Paul Neary, I know it's Mark Gruenwald. He basically told editors at Marvel, we got to change his name. Because Bucky is a very racial stereotype for people of color. And I thought I applaud Mr. Gruenwald for that. When I read that it was him, I was like, just you got to be like, thank you for that, because it's different with Bucky, because that's his James Bucky Barnes. That's like his nickname. But the way they portrayed it in that was like, but truthfully, yes, Bucky is a very racial, derogatory name slur for black folks. It's just as much as like saying, coon or some other racial names that I'm not going to go down the list of again. So, but Battlestar is actually a really cool character. He later on became Battlestar. We haven't seen him in a while. Last time I saw him, he is an agent of Armor. Armor is a division similar to S.H.I.E.L.D., similar to S.W.O.R.D., but they deal with alternate realities. Like, they monitor alternate realities around the Marvel universe. So like when somebody from an alternate reality comes into the 616 universe, Armor's on the detail. And their director is Portal, who is a Native American mutant who can teleport, hence his name Portal. He's really cool. But Battlestar is a part of that. But we haven't seen Battlestar in a while. I know there's rumors that he may show up in Falcon Winter Soldier. If he does, I'll be shocked. But there's a lot of rumors that a lot of characters are going to show up in that show. We'll just have to see. Only time will tell. Next on the list, of course, is a Cardiac. If you don't know Cardiac, you should. Dr. Elias Warham first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man. He's Amazing Spider-Man 342. Created by David McLean and Eric Larson. I've met Eric Larson. Nice guy. He's a very interesting character because he's sometimes portrayed as an anti-hero or a villain, sometimes a hero. Sometimes you do see him fighting Spider-Man, and sometimes he's not fighting Spider-Man. Sometimes he's with him. His power is really interesting because it kind of at first was coming from his heart. His heart wasn't organic. It was inorganic. It was really crazy. And he was able to channel like ionic energy through it into this staff he had. And you would see the ionic energy come from both sides of it, and he would use it as he shoots it. It was coming from his heart. It was really interesting. Later on, the last time we would see him, I believe Dan Slott used him. And we saw that he did have his own practice. He was still doing what he could for the good fight, as a doctor, because he is a physician. But in the beginning, like the early, they really kind of used him as like he was like a tweener. Like he would always, he knew what he was doing sometimes was wrong, but it was for the greater good in a sense. And sometimes that always came into conflict with Spider-Man, who was all about great power and great responsibility. That's why he's my hero. But it is what it is. But he was a very interesting character, and we haven't seen him since. But if you want to know more about him, go ahead and check him out. Cardiac. Next on the list is Delroy Garnet, aka 3D Man. 3D Man or Triathlon is a very interesting character, and when you hear about what this guy can do, you're like, why isn't he being used more? He first appeared in Avengers number 8, created by Kevin Brusick, another character Kurt Brusick created, and George Perez. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Perez. Everything about him was, hence why he's called 3D Man or Triathlon. Everything about him was triple that. So his speed, triple times that of an Olympic level sprinter. His strength, triple that of a power lifter. His eyesight was 3 times better. Everything about him was 3 times that. Later on, because he used to wear these goggles and they would allow him, but later on they got damaged and then he could just see anything, and even so well that he could see through disguises from Skrulls and people like that. Very interesting. He's a very interesting character indeed. They've used him from time to time, but nothing really solid, and that's what I'm looking for, something solid with him. Delroy is such a good character. There needs to be some love and uses of him. Just saying. And last but not least, I'm gonna give you is Livewire. Not Livewire from DC Comics, Livewire from Valiant Comics. Miss Amanda McKeed. First appeared in Harbinger number 15, created by Rob Layton and Joe St. Pierre. She is a very powerful technopath. She can control any kind of electronics with force of will. Like she could take anything you think, she can control it. And yeah, she can shoot lightning and stuff, but her main power is she's a technopath. And she had a series for Valiant not too long ago. It was pretty good. Vita Alaya wrote the Ayala. She wrote the series. I enjoyed it. Livewire has shown up in like fan-made Valiant comic fan films, but she's a very cool character. Usually, it's funny how we always say, I mean, it's always been said sometimes, like, a lot of black heroes have electrical powers. Like, what is it with black heroes and electrical powers? I mean, there are a lot of them. I wonder why, too. Or if it's not that, we have the powers of the animals, which I would love that too. But the one thing I feel is great about her is her mind. She's very intelligent. Besides her powers, she's very intelligent. And when you have a highly intelligent character with powers like she's a technopath. Yeah, it becomes, it's like, whoa, okay, this is going to be interesting. Very interesting. Well, my pack, there you go. I gave you 10 characters, black characters in comics that I think you should take a look at. Do I think they're underrated? I think that's what's going to be the title of this. I gave you some characters from the past, some from DC, some from Marvel, some indies. But all in all, there are so many characters of all color, but definitely in the black community, there are so many characters that don't get enough shine, in a sense, because of the Black Panthers, the Luke Cages, the Storm, the Bishops, the Blades, the Vixen. We forget about them. And I hope you guys learned some and maybe have taken some notes and was like, okay, I'm going to go back and check out that character Chris was talking about. If you do, I would love to hear your thoughts on them. Like, okay, hey Chris, I went back and I checked out that character you're talking about. Hey, thanks, it was really good. But in the meantime, guys, this is the Opinion Spot, where your opinion matters. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. As always, you guys know me. I love input. I read every comment. I may not reply to every one of them, but I do read them all. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys got to think. I said I was going to go about as long as I did. But as always, this is your Alpha saying peace, one love, stay tuned. Keep it real, stay safe as always. I'll catch you guys next time. And with that being said, deuces.